with the R&D, there's been lots of press, we know that. And part of the problems that people have experienced are that doing their claims wrong and getting the claims wrong. What is the impact of not doing this stuff right?
And look, I think we were talking about this before we jumped on the call today. It can be catastrophic if you get it wrong. You know, for small business, it can mean that you have to pay it back, and you can. We've seen businesses go out of business. So that's the first concern. You've got to get it right. Stay within those boundaries of eligibility. I've been doing it for a long time, and that's one of the things I really talk to corporates that I work with is make sure don't be aggressive. There's no point. You will get found out. So, you know, play within the boundaries, use the guidance and work within the rules. But some big ones is you won't get the funding. So from an R&D tax incentive point of view, you'll get your claim denied, and you then go down a path of having to have it reviewed and challenged, and it can take, 1 to several years.
It's a distraction you don't want.
It is. So you're better off to talk to us and talk to some specialists about the best way of doing it. With the grant, so with direct funds, you waste your time. So if you don't get it right, if you actually go too aggressively or too big, or, you don't describe your project in the way that the regulator is looking for, that ROI on that investment, that sweat equity that you put into the application, which is a lot of work, goes to waste. So I think there is a key about prepare properly. Don't be aggressive. Don't claim things that are ineligible. I know these are all basic cliches and things that people hear all the time, but it's pretty, it's so important. So the common errors that we see, just to touch on that, whole project. So everyone's saying, I want to claim everything. I want to claim 100% of my whole team. My advice is probably don't do that. Normally they're doing other things as well. So you've got to be careful about not being aggressive on the whole, capturing everyone's time, not documenting the claim. You've heard me talk about this already. Documentation of the claim, keeping real-time records is really important. If you can implement a timesheet system, I don't want it to be draconian for your employees, but to be honest, it's a great way of just tracking your R&D and your R&D activities. Not getting advice. I get so many companies coming to me that haven't sought advice. There's a reason there's 15 professionals here at Grant Thornton that we work solely with clients on the cycle of innovation, because we do it every day of the week. So you're best to get advice to unlock that benefit that you can access through these programs. There's another program, the EMDG program, so Stop Press, I didn't mention it, but it is an important one as well. So if you're looking to go offshore, and I know everybody would be sort of, sniggering now, so thinking no one's going offshore at the moment. There are a lot of people using Facebook and doing things and registering patents offshore. You can get the Export Market Development Grant. The government's also announced a change to that. So that's going from retrospective to prospective. So I just wanted to put that in as a bit of a stop press, but we can also help you with that. We've got a dedicated specialist. It's a grant fund where it allows you to help fund those offshore marketing activities, really important for growth offshore. So getting back to the errors though, I think get advice, stay within the bounds of the law, and keep your documentation up to date. Try and do your app and your application for these programs, not 10 months after the year end. Start it now. Yeah, really, really good advice. So then you don't get denied.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very good advice, Sandy. You did mention something about being not too aggressive. Would you mind expanding on that, please, before we get to Raj with the next question?
Yeah, sure. So I think it goes back to my point of don't claim everything in your business. Business as usual is not R&D. So you raised a really good point of you need to delineate what qualifies under the Tax Act in the R&D program. And it's quite broad. As you said, it's a commercial, it supports commercial R&D here in Australia, but it doesn't support business as usual routine. It doesn't support routine testing. It doesn't support humanitarian sort of market research. There are some excluded activities, regulatory standard type work. So there are some real tips and tricks to that. And again, you can see some of that in the guidance if at first base you want to just have a read through. But it's where don't put everything in. It's just not worth your while.